Everybody. You know how I've been reading a lot of Junie B books? Well, I thought I'd have a change of pace and read a scary story. The kids are always bringing me books home from school that they think I'd like to read on my video, and this one looks good. It is The Haunting Hour by R.L. Stine. And I love R.L. Stine books. I used to read them all the time when I was in the middle school and high school, and I binged read them. But this book is called The Haunting Hour, Chills in the Dead of Night, and it's a bunch of different stories by R.L. Stine. And it says, read the spine-chilling story of a babysitter who loves evil tricks. The terrifying tale of a boy who dared to lie down in an ancient mummy case. The frightful story of two boys just dying to have the scariest Halloween ever. Alright, this one is, I'm going to skip around through the book. This one is called The Bad Babysitter. And it obviously is because there is a boy whose head is on a cookie. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I think I'd be scared of that babysitter. Alright. The introduction is, one night when I was a kid, a new babysitter came to the house. She was young and pretty, and I looked forward to have a fun night. I was wrong. As soon as my parents left, the babysitter started telling me frightening stories. She told me about a two-headed kid who went to her school, and about a teacher who died but kept right on teaching. She told me about a scientist who kept a living human brain in a fish tank and brought it to parties, and about a boy my age who had fish gills on his neck and could breathe only underwater. She told me the stories were all true, and I believed her. By the time I went to bed, I was shaking so hard I couldn't sleep. I remembered that babysitter when I started this story, and I tried to create a babysitter even more frightening than the one I had that night. Okay. I was so glad when Mom told Larry and Mary Jo they had to leave, and I could see that my sister Courtney was glad too. Yes, they live next door, so Mom says we have to be nice to them. Courtney and I try, but give me a break. These kids are oinkers. I'm trying to be polite, but they are total oinkers. Oink, oink. In my room that day, Larry found a bag of potato chips I had been saving. You should have seen the way he would snuffle them all down from the whole bag, with the bag shoved over his face. Then he grinned with the grease shining on his round cheeks and chin. And the gross burping noises he made. Come on, we're 12 years old. Burping hasn't been funny since we were like 10. My dog Muttley burst in and sniffed out the potato chip bag Larry had tossed onto the floor. Muttley dove for the bag and started chewing it up. That big mutt will eat anything. I had to wrestle it from his mouth, and he bit me. Ha ha, that made Larry laugh. Later, I started to show Larry my new PlayStation racing game. Give me that, Matthew, he said. He grabbed the controller so hard he ripped the cord in two. Did he say he was sorry? No. He started giggling and rolling on his back like it was real funny. Oink, oink. I could hear my sister arguing with Mary Jo down the hall. They fight every time they are together. I don't know what it was about this time, but I heard Courtney shout, "It's not nice to call people names, you moron." Sometimes Courtney really loses it when Mary Jo is around. She hates Mary Jo's scratchy voice and the way she whines all the time. And she hates the way Mary Jo is constantly brushing her long blonde hair, brushing and brushing, even at the dinner table. So we were glad when Mom herded everyone together. Sorry to break up the party, guys, Mom said, but Larry and Mary Jo have to go home now. I'm meeting your dad at the mall. The new babysitter will be here any minute. Can I have something to drink before I leave? Larry asked. He always has to have a drink before he goes home, like he'll die of thirst before he gets there. Me too, his oinky sister whined. Mom hurried to get them juice boxes. Then we sent them out into the rain. It was really coming down. I enjoyed slamming the door right behind them. Oops, it slipped, I told Mom. Mom squinted at me. Matthew, that was not nice. Why do we have to have a babysitter? I asked, changing the subject. I'm 12 years old. I can take care of myself. Your sister is only 8, Mom replied. Do you really want to be responsible for her? I turned to Courtney. She flashed me a devilish grin. Mama's right. Courtney is trouble. For one thing, she thinks she's a gymnast. She's always doing cartwheels over the couch or swinging herself off the banister, trying for a perfect landing. She likes to climb things too, like the rain gutters on the side of the house. Last spring, she climbed onto the garage roof and 6 firemen had to haul her down. Courtney doesn't need a babysitter, I groaned. She needs a keeper. Why isn't Mrs. Craven coming? Courtney asked. She's sick, Mom replied. She's sending someone in her place. Thrills and chills, I sighed. Probably some old lady who will want to play Uno all night. The doorbell rang. There she is now, Mom said. At least give her a chance, Matt. Yeah, sure. I pulled open the front door and was hit by a blast of wind and rain. Staggering back, I pulled out a girl in a purple rain slicker. I'm Lulu, she said. Are you Matthew? She didn't wait for me to answer. She stepped into the house, dripping pools of water all over the carpet, shaking herself dry like a dog. Hi, Lulu, Mom said. Let me take your wet things. Lulu handed over her umbrella and rain slicker. Mom hurried to hang them in the closet. Lulu shook herself again. It's a shivery night, she said, smiling at Courtney and me. My favorite kind. She ruffled her way back. She ruffled her wavy black hair with both hands. I guess she was 15 or 16. She had round, dark eyes, very pale skin, and bright purple lipstick lips, the same color as her rain slicker. She pushed her wet back behind the shoulders of her black sweater. She pushed her hair back behind the shoulders of her black sweater. She wore tight black jeans and shiny black leather boots. Hey, guys, she said. It's nice to meet you both. She had a soft, whispery voice. Wow, she is a total babe, I thought. Awesome. Maybe a babysitter isn't such a bad idea after all, Matthew thought. Lulu sat down on the couch. Muttley came in and nosed around the puddles near the front door. Then, when he didn't find anything to eat, he sniffed Lulu's boots for a while. Dogs like me, Lulu said. She reached down to pet the big gray mutt's head. They know I can read their minds. She stared hard into Muttley's eyes. I know what he's thinking now, she said. He's thinking that he's hungry. Courtney and I both laughed. He's always hungry, Courtney said. He eats everything he sees. Mom rushed by wearing a long raincoat and one of Dad's baseball caps. See you later, she told us. She turned to Lulu. Make yourself at home. Don't let them drive you crazy. No problem, Lulu said. I know how to handle them. I'll hypnotize them and put them in a trance. Mom was already halfway out the door. I don't think she heard what Lulu said. That's good, Mom called, and out the door she went. I studied Lulu. She was staring deep into Muttley's eyes again. Lulu has a funny sense of humor, I decided. She clapped her hands together so hard it startled Muttley. What shall we do tonight, she asked. Her dark eyes sparkled in the light. Do you like video games, I asked. I have PlayStation 2. Boring, Courtney groaned. Can you help me with my cheerleader routine? I'm trying out for the 3rd grade squad on Monday. We don't have any cheerleaders at my school, Lulu replied in her whispery voice. I don't think I could be much help. You just have to watch me, Courtney said. Yawn, yawn, I said. Who were those kids I saw leaving your house, Lulu asked. They're not kids. They're pond scum, I replied. They live next door, so we have to see them, Courtney said. But we hate them, and they hate us. They're totally horrible. We told Lulu just how horrible Larry and Mary Jo were. Lulu jumped to her feet. I have a fantastic idea. Would you like to get even with them? I squinted at her. What do you mean? She giggled. You know, pay 'em back for being so gross. Sure, Courtney and I replied together. Then let's bake some mud cookies, Lulu said. Courtney and I stared at her. You mean make cookies out of mud? Courtney asked. Lulu nodded. She winked at me. Isn't that kind of babyish? I said. I'm 12, and I made mud pies when I was 3. You didn't make mud pies like these, Lulu said. A grin spread over her face. These are very special, and it's a perfect day to make them. What do you mean? I asked. It's pouring outside. Lulu's grin grew wider. Exactly. That's when the mud is ripe. Courtney and I splashed through the backyard carrying towels and a bucket from the garage. I ducked low, but the wind blew cold rain into my face. I don't believe we're doing this, I grumbled, pulling up the hood on my rain slicker. We both squatted in front of Dad's vegetable garden. I held the bucket, and Courtney began shoveling wet mud and plopping it into the bucket. "Hey, who let Muttley out?" Courtney cried. The huge dog came racing through the mud and leaping at me. "Hey, down! Get down!" I cried. His big paws smeared my raincoat with wet mud. "Take the bucket away!" Courtney yelled. "Take it away! He's trying to eat the mud!" A few minutes later, I kicked off my muddy boots and handed the bucket to Lulu. Courtney and I peeled off our filthy rain gear. Lulu laughed. "I told you to get some mud. I didn't say you should swim in it." We carried our soaked raincoats to the laundry room. Then we joined Lulu in the kitchen. She pulled out 2 cookie trays. "Do you have poster paint?" she asked. "We're going to need paint." Courtney ran to her room and brought back her paint set. "Okay, let's get serious," Lulu said. She dipped her hands into the bucket, pulled out a wet chunk of mud, and slapped it onto a baking tray. "This one is for you, Courtney." Courtney stared down at the blob of mud. "What do I do with it?" "Mold it like clay," Lulu said. "Form it into a person. You know, like a gingerbread man." A smile spread over her face. "Make it look like Mary Jo." Courtney giggled. She looked great in mud. "Then I'll do Larry," I said. "I'll give him a fat piggy snout." Lulu plopped a mound of mud onto my tray, and I went to work. Using tablespoons and our fingers, we molded the mud to look like our friends. Then Lulu opened the paint jars, and we colored them. Courtney brushed yellow over Mary Jo's long hair. I poured red over Larry's face to give him a nice piggy look. "Now do we bake them?" Courtney asked. Lulu shook her head. "One more step," she said. "You need to add something that belongs to your friends." "Excuse me?" I stared at her. "Like what?" "Like a hair or a fingernail clipping or something," Lulu said. "You have to bake it in the cookie." "Well, I have plenty of Mary Jo's hairs," Courtney said, starting to the door. "She brushed her hair with my brush today." "And what about her brother Larry?" Lulu asked me, squeezing one of my cookie legs into a better shape. "Do you have any of his hairs?" No hairs," I thought hard. But that creep spit potato chip crumbs all over my floor. They're probably still there. Would they be any good? Lulu thought for a minute. They were in his mouth? Then yes, go get 'em. My sister and I raced upstairs. I hated to admit it, but making mud cookies of Larry and Mary Jo was kind of fun. We hurried back to the kitchen with the hairs and the potato chip crumbs. Lulu carefully pressed them into the centers of the cookies. We cleaned up the kitchen while the cookies baked. The odor from the oven was really gross. But when we pulled the cookies out, they looked great. Mary Jo had a round, lumpy green face and piles of yellow hair. Larry had tiny black eyes and a bright red pig snout. His blue jeans were big and baggy, just like in real life. "Good work," Lulu said, clapping her hands. "Very good work." "What do we do with them now?" I asked. "You keep them somewhere safe, and then you use them," Lulu answered. "Huh?" I stared hard at her. "Use them? What do you mean?" Suddenly the kitchen door swung open and Mom and Dad came rushing in, shaking out their umbrellas. Rainwater rolled off their raincoats. "Wow, what a night," Dad said. His glasses were completely fogged. Mom squinted at our cookie tray. "What on earth?" "We made mud cookies," Lulu told her. "Sort of an arts and crafts project to pass the time." All right, I'm about to run out of time, and I don't think it's very scary yet, but I had an idea that part 2 will be scarier, and I will put that up as soon as I put this one up.